So yesterday we went through this primary effort or internal effort, which happens in the oral cavity inside this. That's why they are called internal. And internal means which happens between the sthanam and karanam, and then the external efforts, which happens outside the oral cavity in the throat area. And it is also called secondary effort. Secondary, why primary, secondary? Because this happens first, right? Touch or no touch. So whatever that is going to happen first, and then the secondary effort is needed to sound that letter. So in Sanskritam, we know that primary effort is called abhyantara prayatna, and this is called secondary is called external is called bahya prayatna. And because it is followed, this follows the primary effort. So in Sanskritam, this is also called anupradana. So this is just a pradana. Pradana means effort, and this is anupradana. Anu means follows, something follows. Like if you know the words like gacchati means goes, anugacchati means follows. Anu and then gacchati. Anu is usually used to indicate following. So here secondary effort is also called bahya prayatna, is also called anupradana. So in the primary effort, we are seeing that how it starts here, how it is categorized, starting from sprushta, full contact, to ishat sprushta, so a little bit more gap. Ishat vivruta, even more gap. So from sprushta it changes to vivruta. Vivruta means openness. A little contact, and here it is little openness. That means lesser contact. And vivruta, this is open. So here sprushta, contact, in this we have all those 25 consonants which are in that 5 by 5 grid. And the ishat sprushta, we have ya, ra, la, va, 4 consonants. And ishat vivruta, we have sha, sha, sa, ha. Right? Then vivruta, there are all the swaras, all the vowels are there. And we also saw some alternate names for this group of ishat vivruta, that is sha, sha, sa, sha, sha, sa, ha. So this one is also called ushmana. Ushmana means one which gives out the hot air. Of fricatives, friction. There is a friction, heavy friction with the air there when we are saying sh, sh, sa, ha. And then this ishat sprushta, these are also called antastha. Just for a reference, I thought you should know this if you come across this word anytime. Actually, it is antastha. One letter is called antastha. Antasthaha is bahuvachanam, plural. Ushmana. Antasthaha. Antasthaha. So antastha means intermediate. So you can roughly translate it like that. So the intermediate, because they are not completely consonants, needing the complete touch. They are not open also, completely open. So they are in between. They need in between effort. So antastha, obviously. Actually, there are other explanations also why they are called antastha, but this could be understood. This is easier to understand. Then vivruta. Vivruta is the open one, which all the swaras are there, etc. But the one which is the last one here is samvrita. Samvrita means closed. Only one swara, one vowel, which is a, the first swara, a, is kept as samvrita. It comes into this one group, only one sole member, samvrita. So this is because when we use, like for example, you are saying Ganesha or Saraswati, in that ga, the first one ga, Ganesha. So here we are not actually opening the mouth wide there, just not too much wide compared to other swaras like u, like it is short. When we are using it in a word, in a usage, g. So immediately the next one follows there, next consonant or anything is there, it follows. Like so that in that case, there is not too much openness for the other Ganesha. So this is the only one which is kept here compared to other swaras. But if that is uttered independently, like say so somebody want to say say so compared to independently saying and when you are using it in a word like Ganesha, you can experience the difference in that openness. The same in said independently, you can see that there's little more openness compared to when we say go. So when it is in the use, practical use in the words, it is samvrita. But it is considered also, is also considered vivrita in the Paniniya grammar. In the Paniniya grammar purposes only, grammatical process purposes only, it is called vivrita. It is considered vivrita. But practically, when in the practical usage, it is considered samvrita. It is considered for the grammatical processing or the rules purpose. It is considered vivrita because of its necessity there. Yeah. One is this practical thing we saw when you try to say just there is more openness than using it in a word like ga. But other than that, for grammatical purposes, there is a necessity to consider it as a vivrita for sandhi rules. So those are the 5 abhyantara prayatna or internal efforts. And then external efforts, we saw the groups there: samvara nada ghosha, vivara, shvasa ghosha. So those are the 2 distinct sets. Also, I mean, although you can say that they are together, I mean, totally they are like 6. Then there are additional 2, alpa prana, mahaprana. This is another group. Another way of grouping the consonants. So note that all these are applicable to only consonants. Why? Because the primary effort is abhyantara prayatna for the swaras. There is no anupradana, right? There is no secondary effort. So these are not, because they are free flowing. They are vivrita and they are free flowing. There is no additional secondary effort needed to bring them out. Whereas for the consonants, there is a secondary effort needed. One of these. Either they need samvara nada ghosha, then alpa prana from that group, or the alpa prana, mahaprana, this group. So either one of these is needed. So either one of this one, this is the second group, and this is the third group, right? So either this or this, and either alpa prana, mahaprana is needed, or are needed, because two efforts will be needed, like either this and this, or either this or this, right? Alpa prana. So that secondary effort is needed for the consonants. So the last letter on the letter of chart here, we saw ha, okay? This ha, and also we're looking at this yaralava sha, yaralava. Yesterday there was a question, ra, the pronunciation of ra. So ra, putting in this line, murdha is the sthana, karana is for this sthana, that is ta, tha, da, dhana, is pariveshtata jihvagra, underside of tongue tip. And do not think that underside means you have to totally do the upside down or totally reverse the tongue, nothing like that, to touch that murdha sthana. But this, the only tip of the tongue has to be slightly turned into upside down, slight, underside of the tip. And while pronouncing ra, this karana, sthana remains same. This karana means the actuator is same as this ta-ta-da-dhana. This is valid, but there is another question yesterday. Actually, we use the tip of the tongue for ra, which is also true. There is another opinion in the Shikshaa Grantha that tip of the tongue is also correct for the ra, but the sthana remains same. Okay? Ra, ra. There's a little bit difference when we do the upside down, but both are correct. Ra, ra. So now, va. For va, oshtha or the lips is the sthanam. However, to make it more precise, it's also called srukkini. So for u we say oshtha, for when you say u. Now there is something called srukkini. Srukkini is the side of the lips. The side of the lips, the sides of the lips is called srukkini. If you want to write it. Srukkini. This is again that not Sri, it is the R vowel. Srukkini. Srukkini is the side of the lips there. So that is considered the precise sthana for this va. Now coming to ha. Ha, what is the sthanam? We have here anumula, right? And karana jihva mula. Now this is true. The ha is also a special consonant or a special sound, just like a. A is a special sound. Though we say it anumula and jihva mula karana, but compared to other swaras, this is very, very relaxed, very natural. Some even say that it doesn't have any karana act at all. It's just a free-flowing, free-sounding letter there. So similar to that, ha is also very free. Only thing in that difference is we are adding a breath there to a. Breath, and there is a sound also. Sound means voice. So breath plus voice. You can consider it like that. So is pure voice, and you add breath to it, then it becomes ha. Ha. Now, when we utter, what are the examples of the word with ha? In English, we saw hut. And in Sanskritam, hara or hari, whatever.
Hari. Hara.
Hari. Ha. Hara. So here we are, it's naturally coming out ha with the breath there, ha, hari. And remember that, what is the secondary effort for this? It is samvara, nada, ghosha, and mahaprana, requiring breath. And there is a nada also, ha, ha, hara. Okay, but now consider the ha sound in which is in a conjunct letter. Conjunct letter. So what is a conjunct letter? It's a sanyuktakshara. So if you go to this, hope you can see this. Conjunct letters are combination of two consonants. So here any consonant we can combine with any other consonant. So this is just like shows the partial table here. So ka can be combined with ka. Ka can be combined with ka. So it can be written like this, which is like this. Or sometimes you can also see ka under another ka, which is fine. I mean, there is no set rule like that it is written like this. And sometimes you just see ka separately and ka like this. So this is another same thing written in another way. So this is the first consonant ka, and which is followed by another consonant. It could be ka or any other consonant, like which is shown in the first line here. So example like so for example, if you say cha, or let's say ru, kma. So in English, I'll write it here. So the first one is ru. So this, what is happening here? There is a consonant ra, which is refa. We saw that yesterday, which is called refa. The ra sound is called refa. And then there is ukara, that is u sound. And then there is, what is there then? Kakara, right? Kakara, which is the ka consonant. And then there is makara, ma consonant. And then there is again at the end akara. So together it is making the rukma sound, rukma word. So raka, refa and u together, it becomes ru, which is written like this in Devanagari. And then the ka plus ma can also be written like this, kakara and makara. Or also in Devanagari, it can be written with the half ma, half ka, and full ma. And obviously, we are not putting the in the slant line at the end there. That means the is added after this automatically. The sound is added. So, rukma. So in this case, so this one is called what is it called? Conjunct letter or the sanyuktakshara. Sanyuktakshara, which is having two or more consonants. So more three, even the three consonants sometimes may come, four consonants might come together, like three consonants. But two consonants are very common here. Like in this case, there are ka and ma, which are together here. And after that, a sound is added. Rukma. Again, remember that when we are pronouncing this Vyanjanam, half matra, because ka ma have to be pronounced very quickly. We should not be adding any other sound after the ka. Ruk ma, ruk. So there is a stop there. Ruk, kuk, ruk, and then ma has to be pronounced as soon as possible there after ma, after ka. Ruk ma, ruk ma. So any consonant can be added with anything here. Rukma means, what is the meaning of rukma? Just for the general understanding. What is rukma?
Rukmani's brother, no, sir?
That is rukmi.
No, that is Rukmi. Okay.
Rukma. That is a name also, but here what is the rukma? Like a general meaning. Rukma is suvarnam, like gold. Rukma, gold. So now, so before going back to ha, let's just finish this topic of conjunct letters or the Sanyuktaksharam. Other examples. So these are very common, right? What are the other examples?
Brahma.
No, without her. Her will come later.
Kriya.
Huh?
Kriya.
So Kriya Devanagari is written like this, and so in English you can write it like this, transliteration Kriya. And then if you split it, what are the sounds in this? First one is Kakara, right? Kakara, and then Refa, then what is the next one? Ikara, then Yakara, then what is the last one? Akara. I'll just write it like this. Or you can also write it in transliteration like that. Kriya. So whether you actually write it like this or write it like this, there is no difference in pronunciation. They are the same. Kriya. So we are pronouncing all these three together, and these two are the consonants, kra, and after that we are adding the e sound. We are not adding any sound also here. If we just add sound, it becomes kra, but we are directly adding the e sound after this k and r sound. So it becomes kri, and then there is ya, kriya. All right. So I'm sure all of you are familiar with many other Sanskrit words and Sanskrit shlokas, and there are, you come across all these conjunct letters. Before that, since we are already here, this also you should know, right? And many of you already know this. Just I'll cover this quickly. Ka is just the, what is written here is the consonant sound which cannot be pronounced independently, right? And then to that we can add any other swara or the vowel sound here. So if you add ka and ka sound which cannot be pronounced, because I'm just saying ka. So that's why I want to say kakara here, because I can't just say k, because when I try to say ka, the element of comes there. So that is why these are referred with the kara, right? That is easier. Technically, kara. So ka sound. After that, if we add a sound, akara, then it becomes ka. Now it is easier to pronounce ka. And same thing, kakara add with akara, then it becomes ka. Kakara, ikara, ki. Kakara, ikara, ki. Kakara, ukara, ku. Short ku. Kakara, ukara, ku. Kakara, ukara, ku. kakara, u. This is the dirgha u, ku. Then here the u, ku. So this is ku. And same thing with the a, I, o, o. Ka, a, kakara, ekara, ke. Kakara, ikara, kai. Kakara, okara, ko. Kakara, okara, kau. So these are just the gunitakshara. What are these called in English? Anjali Bagini might know. So the compound letters? Yeah, compound letters.
Sayuktakshara.
No, English.
Oh.
Compound letters, I think.
It's not compound, it's close to declensions.
Yeah. These are compound.
Sir, what about come?
Huh?
Come.
Yeah.
Cow,
Yeah.
after cow, come also.
I will come to that anusvara a little bit today. Today we'll cover that anusvara.
Sandhi?
Huh?
Can we call as Sandhi?
Sandhi here? This is not Sandhi because these are not Sandhi because actually the Vyanjanam ka itself cannot be pronounced, right? So to pronounce it, we are adding these different swaras to it. So this is not changing of the sound. To bring out the sound of ka, to express that sound, so we are just adding another swara to it. So there is no change in the sound itself. These are the basic sounds. And that is why these are actually that's why these are called akshara, right? Whereas only kakara, ka sound is called varna. It cannot be pronounced independently. So these combinations are not sandhis. These are not.
Sayuktakshara?
No, compounds. Swarayuktakshara.
Gunitakshara, yeah. Swarayuktakshara or Gunitakshara.
Compound.
Compounds.
Yeah.
That Sayuktakshara is the one which we saw the other one. Two consonants.
Consonant with consonant.
Yeah.
Acha.
These are in English, you can call it conjuncts here. Conjuncts. And the other one is compound. With the swara, we can call it compounds here. So, yeah, that kam and kaha will just keep it aside for right now. These are the swaras we have studied, and with that combination, these are the different expressible sounds with each consonants with the swaras which can be produced. Right? So same thing with you can add with kha. Some examples are shown here. These swaras can be added with any other consonants. Then examples shown here with kha, ga, gha. So anybody like Shiva or Radhika or Uma would like to pronounce one of these?
I can try.
Yeah, please.
Kha, yeah, kha, 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 ki, ki, hu, kr, 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 klen, klai, klo, cloud, cow. Oh, sorry. And then with a kla, and then ke, kai, ko, cow.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Hold on. So this is So actually this with the lu, so that is a swara with no r sound in it. Lu. Now, in practical purposes, there is only one actually. I don't know if anybody knows the second or another word for lu. I know only klupta. Klupta. Is there any other word? Just let me know. But Other than that, there are no other words actually. So these are basically of no use actually. So they are, though in theory, we can show this. We can try to pronounce it, go, etc. But practically, there is no word with these combinations. Only I see klupta here.
Kavi Kalidasa has used one like that, sir.
Yeah.
That is, he has told gulu guglu. Gulu guglu means when a apple or some the fruit, when it falls in the water, what the sound we are hearing is gulu guglu.
Yeah. Okay.
That I remember it. Incidentally.
Right. So that is the sound like you are referring to produced when something falls in the water, but that is not actually padam. Right?
That is not a padam.
Yeah, that is just like a sound. Okay.
In Sanskrit, what this type of words are called?
What types of words?
This is in Sanskrit, what it is called? Ka, ka, ki. So whatever you say, compound or conjunction.
Gunitakshara. Gunitakshara.
Gunitakshara. Svarayuktakshara.
What is that beginning of
Svarayukta akshara.
Can you write this?
Okay. Swara Yukta. I will write it separately for understanding, but we can combine it. Swara Yukta Akshara. Okay.
Correct.
Swara Yukta means which contains Akshara, which contains Swara. Vowel.
This is right name. This is right name.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. So this you can extend. So all of others can practice saying this actually with different swaras just for practice. And also you can also try to practice this, but this is difficult to say independent like this. When they are in a word, it is easier to say this conjunct letters which are here. Now, there are a couple of questions which arise here. Like one. Let me go back to that ha again. So let's finish that part. So ha, the sthanam is hanumola, juhamola, similar to similar to ka, kha, ga, ga. Right? That's what we saw. But again, it is special because it is very natural. No constriction, no impedance anywhere. Similarly, ha is also very close to but is pure voice, and ha we are adding breath to it. And in case of hari or hara, it you can feel that it is coming out of that kantha or the throat. Ha. But when we look at the conjunct ha, example of conjunct ha is like let's take this. I want to just write it in a simple, separated, just for understanding. You can write this ha consonant and ni like this also in Devanagari. This also, but this is easier to understand. And in English, it could be like this. Now here, when we try to pronounce it, ni, so like ni, ni. So from where that air is coming out, ni. When we try to say ha here, ni, ni. Vahni. So when compare that with hara, ha is very natural. Hara, very fluid flowing, just like but with breath. Hara. But when we are saying this consonant ha in a conjunct condition, Vahni. You can see that the air is the involvement of chest there. Vahni. It's coming from bottom there. Vahni. That is Tatra Kampanam. What is called Kampanam in English? Vahni.
Tremor.
Yeah, tremor.
Reverberations or
yeah, tremor. But that's moving, right? That lower part. Vahni. Vahni. That is why this, when it is in conjunct position, Vahni, like this, that is why its position is called Uras. Uras is chest. Okay. So there are actually Hakara has two different positions based on where it is used. So if it is just like a free flowing like Hara, where it is not a conjunct, then this is okay because coming out of this throat. Simple. But when it is in conjunct condition like Vahni, then the position is stated as Uras. Ura means chest. Ura or Uras. Uraha or Uras. So this means chest. So this you should keep this in mind. So when this is in the conjunct position, it comes out of the chest. Like example we saw Vahni. Any question?
We call it Vahni. It is Vahni. Sound or pronunciation, whatever we call it as Vahni, is incorrect.
Primadaya, what didn't understand the question?
Many times we call it Vahni. It is wrong. It should be Vahni.
Yeah, Vahni. Vahni. So here that brings up another interesting topic. So in Sanskritam, if you go back in the what I call real Sanskritam, there is no, I don't wish to call it real Sanskritam or fake Sanskritam because Sanskritam itself means real, right? Sanskritam, processed. However, so in the Sanskritam, there is no conjunct letter or conjunct, just conjunct. There is no conjunct means combination of two consonants, right? There is no conjunct where her comes second. Her always comes first in a conjunct condition. So you take, for example, there are many words like ahanna.
Brahma. Brahma.
Yeah. I am just writing this separately, just though it can be written like this, just for clarity and ease of writing. Also, I am writing like this: Brahma and ahani, purvanna. Like if you like purvanna, we say aparahanna, purvahanna. Yeah. Purvanna, aparahanna, and then we have prahlada. I think most of you know the story of Prahlada.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Narasimha Prahlada. So there Prahlada, then there is Ahallada. Ahallada means happiness, joy. Ahallada. So you see in the conjunct conditions, the her comes first. in a conjunct condition. So Brahma, Purvahana, Prahlada, Ahallada, Hanni, then Vahni. And there are some names also, like some famous poets were there previously in Kashmiri poets, like Kahlana, Billana, Kahlana. So there again her like this, her first, law next. Now in some recent books you might see them written as na first and, like for example, one he, na first and her later, like this, which is not correct actually. This is not correct. Her has to come first, Vahni. Why we are not saying this correct actually? What is the problem?
Sir, what about a word, pada like Simha?
Huh?
Is it Simha?
Simha is different. Right? There is no Simha is there is no conjunct of her.
Okay. And there is, at least in Telugu, we have something like Kalhaka Priya.
Huh?
Narada is also known as Kalhaka Priya. Kalhaka. Is that such a word exists in Sanskrit also? I thought it was from Sanskrit.
Sanskrit is just a Kalaha Priya, not Kalaha Priya. Kalaha means bickering. Kalaha Priya.
There's a word. There's also another word, Chinna. Chinna.
Yeah, Chinna. Chinna. That is also word. Chinna. That is also her first. Chinna. So in just to make it clear to everybody, I'm writing it in English also. Her first. In a conjunct condition, her first. So if you write Brahma, her first. Her first. So when I say write, that means pronounce. Writing is just the reflection of pronouncing only. Writing is different, pronouncing is different. It doesn't go like that. Writing is just how we pronounce it. The pronunciation to represent that we are writing. That there is a script is meant for that. So when I'm saying her in the conjunct condition, her comes first. Her comes first where? Pronunciation. We are always talking about pronunciation in Shikshaa. Okay? So that you can remember, but just FYI.
In Marathi we call it Prahlad.
Yeah.
Like
So many. Yeah. Let other. I don't want to talk about other languages, which may be fine. But one thing I want to bring up here, side note, in Sanskritam itself, forget about other languages. In Sanskritam itself, many people are arguing nowadays that you write it like this with her first, but while pronouncing, you pronounce it reverse. Okay? Brahma, in this Brahma, like you are saying one he. So this is unfortunate. I mean, there is no basis for that. And they are just saying this is somebody told them something like that. Okay, but anyway, there is no basis. First thing is how it is pronounced. The script is meant to represent that. That is number one. Okay? Brahma, Vahni, Prahlada, etc. And they should be pronounced like that, because these are not just like somebody's figment of imagination, these words. These have etymology. Every word has an etymology, and based on that etymology, these words are formed like this. The pronunciation means the words are formed like this, and they should be written like that. Writing is totally different. Writing is a script. What you say, write it. Write like that. Brahma, etc. Yeah. And secondly, if somebody is arguing that no, pronounce it like this only, then write it like that. That's my principle. Or if you want to pronounce it like that, write it like that. Like write bra and then ha, then ha. Note that when you write it like this, it doesn't stay as uras. It doesn't originate in uras. It originates in kantha, because it is at the end now. It is not in the beginning. When it is beginning, then it is consonant Brahma. But when it is just at the end, there is a vowel added to it. It becomes ha, simple Brahma, Vanhi. Yeah, it may feel like it is easier to pronounce, but the ones who are somehow arguing that it should be pronounced like that, please go ahead and then write it like this, but which doesn't have the etymological origin for this. Then there is no etymological origin for this one. There is Brahma, and same thing goes with others also. Chihnam, Vahni, Prahlada, Ahlada, etc. Okay. So now coming back to our chart of letters. So also you know that like these different, many of you know already, the way these are pronounced also have profound effects on our physiology, physical body, as well as the mind, how we pronounce, like Mahaprana, Alpa Prana, so less breath, more breath, the ka. When these shlokas and the words are formed, so pronouncing them automatically has effect on our different parts of the body and the mind also. So even this conjunct ha also has a very specific effect. So if you change that order, that effect is lost. Now the next thing here is a, e, u, etc. Here we know that the first one is short, and then double the time a, etc. Now what about the, so you see that this has a double, corresponding double, which is a, e has corresponding double, e, dirgha, u has corresponding dirgha, u, ru has corresponding dirgha, ru, and a, what is a? Is it hrasva or dirgha?
Dirgha.
Dirgha. I.
Dirgha.
I dirgha, o dirgha, au dirgha. Huh? Au. What about lu here? Lu is hrasva or dirgha?
It's Rasva.
Hrasva. So in this chart here, this where is the, it's double, corresponding double, because all the hrasvas have doubles here, but this ai, to begin with, they are the doubles, so no question of doubling them. So what is about ru?
It doesn't have Dirgha, it has Pluta.
Okay, why it doesn't have dirgha? For the simple reason, I mean, to pronounce it, we can pronounce it. Just like we pronounce ru, we can pronounce ru, there's no problem. Yeah. But it is not on the chart of the letters here, or the Varnamala or Aksharamala we call it. It is not here because there is no word with that sound, the dirgha ru, for the simple reason. Yeah. In theory, it can be placed, any word, any kind of sound can be placed, but when the chart of letters is represented, Varnamala is represented, we are taking only those sounds which are in practical use. we find it somewhere in the in some word, some pada in Sanskritam language. So for the simple reason that dirgha, the elongated u, does not exist in any pada. It doesn't form a part of any word. It is not included here. Simple reason. So we are talking about the
Kannada, they call A I O O. They have that.
Right. So same thing here that goes also, that AI, when we say dirgha, yes, because we know that the combination of E together makes it A, which automatically makes it dirgha. But since even then we can actually, in theory and even practically also, we can shorten it and say just A, ekamatra, one matra, A, just like saying A. However, in Sanskritam, again talking about Sanskritam, we do not find, and there is no need for a shortened version of A. Whenever there is like what is the example with the A? Any word with A? Eka. Eka. So in that, we don't want to pronounce it as shortened A. Eka. So we want to pronounce it as a elongated or a dvimatra, two matras, Eka. We do not find any pronunciation, any word with a pronunciation with the short A. That is why it is not included here. It might be there in other, and it is there in other languages also, shortened A, as you were saying, but not in Sanskritam. So, you shorten only. Now, when we are covering this, now Anjali Begin mentioned something called pluta. Let's finish that one too today. How do I write it to make it easy? I'll just write it like this. Pluta. Plu. Pluta. What is pluta? Pluta means three matras. Okay. So one matra time measure is called one matra, that is called hrasva, and two matra is called dirgha, and three matras is called pluta. So we add one more matra to the same swara, then it becomes dirgha. So here in this chart, only hrasva dirgha written here, but to extend that a by another matra, it becomes a, that is pluta, dirghama. Dirgha after dirgha, pluta. Similarly, e, u, etc. Then the last a, I, o. So normally there are two matras, right, dirgha only. But you elongate, we can be elongate. Another matra can be added, like we can say A, then it becomes pluta. So each of these, the last four, they have the pluta versions also, the three matra versions. A, I, O, etc. O, pluta also. Now the pluta, where is it used in the padas, in the actual practical use here? Mostly they are used when calling somebody. So when we want to call, there could be some other cases also of usage, but generally we use it. They can be used in calling somebody. So if we are calling, say, Krishna, so when the Krishna we call, generally when the person is away, use Krishna. When the person is close by, we don't elongate, because he is just sitting next to us. We just say Krishna. Hey Krishna. But when you are saying, when somebody is away, we use elongate, like somebody is Krishna, that it becomes elongate. So that is where the pluta comes into picture. So pluta, but for this pronunciation discussion, Shikshaa discussion, it is enough to understand that there are pluta versions of the 3 matra versions for each of these. So for this first one, first sound, which has a sthana karana in the jihva moola. So this has 3 versions, right? One is rasva, akara, dirgha akara, pluta a. Similarly, e. So this one also 3 versions. Who also 3 versions. Ru also 3 versions. A 2 versions. I 2 versions. O 2 versions. O 2 versions. What about Lu? Lu, we saw that there is no. This is a rasva or 1 matra, but for practical purposes, there is no dirgha lu. There is no dirgha lu. So dirgha lu is absent. But there is a pluta lu which is allowed. Pluta, the 3 matra lu, that is present in some usage somewhere. Maybe in again in addressing sambodhanam, maybe. So for the purpose of the chart of letters, so what we can say now, has totally how many versions together? These 2, and there was one more, right? 3. Then E has 3 versions. U has 3 versions. U. Then this has 3. This has 2. 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 And this, right? Note that this rasva dirgha pluta applies only to swaras, not vyanjanas. Well, vyanjanas, again vyanjanas, no independent sound, no independent expression. So they need swara to be added, one of these varieties of swaras. Either rasva dirgha pluta to be added on top of vyanjanas to pronounce that vyanjana sound. Rasva dirgha pluta. Now there are one more variation in this swaras, which is anunasika variation. Now, where did we see anunasika before? When studying the consonants here, which are the anunasika sounds? Nasal sounds. Anunasika means nasal. Which need the help of? Ngaya na nama. Ngaya na nama. So these are the anunasika sounds which need the help of nose, nasal passage. So with the sthana karana, which are needed for this. In addition to this last one needs the nasal passage also. This also is, underline that, also, just not the nasal passage, also. So similarly, example, anda, right? Anda. Anda. So here, now we are pronouncing that, again the murdha is the position, and if you close the nose, we cannot pronounce no. And so these are anunasika. Anu, again note that is anu means follows. In this case, it means anunasika. It is following the nasal passage also. Then coming back to this here, this swaras have their anunasika variations also. Like can be pronounced as uh, uh. So the air passes through nose also. So this is the anunasika variation of Similarly, A also has its anunasika variation. In A is the ekamatra. One is the matra, the time factor. One matra, haswa, has the anunasika variation. A also has anunasika variation. And similarly, pluta is three matra variation. A also has anunasika. You can pronounce it nasally. And E. So each one has the anunasika or nasal variation. Right? So how many variations are there now total? So for example, you take you take this sound. As far as the time is concerned, there are three variations, right? One matra, two matra, three matra. Rasva, dirgha, pluta. And each one has anunasika, nasal, and the other one is niranunasika or ananunasika, which is non-nasal, which is the regular one, or this is a normal one, and then the nasal one. So there is two. So I'll just say regular and nasal. Regular, nasal. Regular, nasal. So how many variations total?
Two.
Six.
Six
variations.
for each two.
9.
9?
9.
Which one is correct? 9 or 6?
9 or 12.
9 or 12.
One is usual, then regular.
Yeah. Which is 9 or 12? Or 6?
It is 9 only.
9 only. Okay. 6?
Yeah.
6. Okay.
6.
6. Okay. So now every consonant here, every vowel, not consonant, every vowel here has 6. Is that right? Not on this line. So O has 6, E has 6, U has 6, U has 6. What about Lu? Lu doesn't have the two matra version as far as this chart is concerned. So how many variations are there? One is Rasva, Anunasika, nasal and non-nasal, and Dirgha, sorry, no Dirgha, but Pluta, Anunasika and regular one. So total 4, right? Rasva, Anunasika and regular, and Dirgha, Anunasika and regular. Sorry, not Dirgha, Pluta, regular and Anunasika. 4, right? So what about A? A doesn't have Rasva, only Dirgha and Pluta. 4. This 4, this 4, this 4. Okay, so these together, so these are considered actually a variation of a one single vowel, right? Only this time factor is changing. So here 6, 6, 6, 6. So these are the different variations so far we know. In our study. So keep this in mind right now. And what are the Anunasika variations in the Vyanjanam? Again, we are talking about the practical purposes. For practical purposes, as far as the chart is concerned, where is the chart? Here. Here. So here, we certainly know that this column is Anunasika. right? Because it needs nasal passage help. Ngayana nama. Other than that, no other consonant except ya, va, la. Where are ya, va, la? La, ya, va. These are their nasal variations. Ya, la, va. Other consonants, they do not have nasal variations for practical usage purposes. This last column in the 5x5 grid, Ngayana nama, and ya, la, va. These ones have nasal variations. We'll see that in some ya, la, va examples in later in their nasal variations. But this Ngayana nama, these we already know. We already looked at different words like anda, anjana, and anta, amba. So all these we already seen for this last column. So those are the common words. But ya, la, va with their nasal variations are also there, which we'll see a little later. Now coming to this anusvara visarga. Now these ones like to from here to here and these 25 5x5 grid and this 8. These are on the chart of letters, and these are actually included in the Paniniya Sutras, the Paniniya Maheshwari Sutras. Panini has defined initially in the beginning of his Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi is the book which he has written as the fundamental of Sanskrit grammar, of the modern Sanskrit grammar. So previous to that, also there were many grammarians, many grammar. Not that Sanskrit started with Panini. Sanskrit was like forever. It was a milestone. You can think of Panini's grammar as a milestone. Like there were many milestones in the road, right? And the older milestones are lost now. So only Paniniya grammar is available, and that is being used. So this Paniniya in this Ashtadhyayi, which is the basic book of the Sanskrit grammar as we know today, has in the beginning he has defined the list of the letters. So like a chart of letters, they are arranged in a peculiar way, which are logical way, in 14 short what is called sutras, which are known as Maheshwara Sutras. In the Maheshwara Sutras, we find the ones which have encircled here, which are circled here. Now, other than these which I have shown here, these are found on the Maheshwara Sutras. Other than these, there are also other sounds. These are not the only sounds which are used in practical Sanskritam day-to-day, today's words. There are other sounds also. So they are not in the Maheshwara Sutras. The ones which are on the Maheshwara Sutras, where is Maheshwara Sutras? Okay, we can look at that later. So the ones which are on the Maheshwara Sutras, or right now which are on this chart here, these are called the regular letters, which appear on the chart of letters. The sounds which are not on this. Remember, when I am saying letter, it actually means a sound, a specific sound when we use a sthana, karana, and effort. So please use. So there is. I have to call it a varna actually, but in English I'll say just letter. But letter means not the written form. Don't confuse with that. So it's a varna means some sound. So the sounds which are not on this list, they are called ayogavaha. Ayogavaha. So I'll just write here. Ayogavaha. Ayogavaha. Ayogavaha means the sounds which are not present on that list, but they are still used in the practical words. So now two of them here, as you see on the list here, these two, anusvara and visarga, these are two separate sounds. These are not swaras, not vowels, or they are not neither consonants. They are separate sounds. And they are not part of the Maheshwara Sutra. I mean, just because they are not part of Maheshwara Sutra doesn't mean that they are like not important, nothing there. That is not the purpose of Maheshwara Sutra, to show the importance. But, however, these are two of the many ayogavahas. There are other ayogavahas, means other sounds which are not part of those 14 sutras, are not the main, the ones which are shown here. So what are these sounds? First one is called anusvara, the other one is called visarga. So what is the anusvara visarga sound? Let's look at the anusvara sound. So generally, many of you have studied or know that swara. So when we ask somebody chant these swaras or pronounce these swaras, they usually go a, I, E, U, and U, A, I, O, aha. So that aha, they are not swaras. Just remember that. They are not swara and they should not be actually pronounced. They are the anusvara visarga. And this again, anusvara visarga, they cannot be pronounced independently by themselves. Now let's focus on anusvara. What is anusvara? What is the meaning of anusvara? Note again this anu comes here. Anu, like anunasika, anupradana, anugacchati, like that. Anusvara. The swara is a derivation of swara. Swara means something related to swara. Anusvara means, anu, we know that means follows. Follows. Anusvara means the sound which follows swara. So this anusvara sound always means, whenever it comes, not always means not all the time, but whenever it needs to be used, it has to follow a swara. It cannot come after a vyanjanam directly. It has to follow a swara. It has to be pronounced after the swara. When we say again, remember we are talking in relative terms. Follows means it is not a slow motion follow. It has to be quick follow. So when we say also, actually is not a correct pronunciation of anusvara, because when we say there is a ma sound here. And what we have studied before, where does the ma fall there? Ma fits in the, what is the position of ma here? Here it is ma, right?
Lips.
Lips. And it is anunasika also, ma. Ma is anunasika, that's fine. But it is not anusvara. Oshtha, because oshtha is there. Whereas anusvara, it is defined, its position defined as pure nasika. It is not anunasika. It is nasika. And that means it is pure nasal passage. That means without closing the lips also, whether you close the lips or no, don't close it. It doesn't matter. We should be able to pronounce anusvara. So when we say it is not anusvara. We are saying makara there. This is a ma sound. So when do we hear anusvara? So anusvara is best heard, or it's easier to best pronounced when we use it with one of these, or one of these. Yeah. One of these. One of these means what? When anusvara comes before this. For example, you take the word sa, like this. So how do we pronounce that? Or let's say take another one also I'll write here. So anusvara, note that is its symbol script in Devanagari is one dot above the letter or the swara it comes. In this case, what swara it is following? This anusvara is superimposed on which vowel?
Akara.
Akara. And here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, are you sure? Because just we said that anusvara cannot come after a vyanjanam.
It's not sakara, but sakara with akara.
So here also it is only. So here this sa is equal to sa plus a, right? So here anusvara is following a only. So this is same as writing sa and not and then yo, and it follows. So here also it is imposed on the a sound only. Okay? Like yeah. So in this way, let's think about the pronunciation of anusvara here. So how is it pronounced? Like when we say a and then anusvara sha. So it is pronounced ansha. Note that there is no amsha. There is no amsha. It should not be pronounced with ma in between. Okay? This is not correct. Amsha or ansha. No or sha in between. So if we say amsha, I can say you can hear it. Amsha. And if I use na here, it becomes ansha. But when I say ansha, after a there is anusvara. It's a fast. It's quick. It's not nasal. If I make it nasal is different. That becomes But after immediately there is a nasal. Immediately after that, ansha. So ansha. And here also sanyoga. Is not samyoga or sanyoga. Same thing with when we say Sanskrita. Sanskritam, right? So when we say Sanskritam, so we should not be adding na in between, like Sanskritam or ma in between. Sanskritam. So it is Sanskritam. So it just glides there. Sanskritam. So that's why there is no exact equivalent writing in English there, because either we have to use some yam there or yan there, but both do not make correct pronunciation as far as this anusvara is concerned. When you take anusvara, has to be pronounced there. Sanskrita. So now we also see the anusvara when writing, for example, another example, let's say, like we say, right, tam vande parameshwaram, right, akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchita sagaram, somewhere there, tam vande parameshwaram. So here, how do we pronounce this? This is shown while writing, at least as while writing it is shown as anusvara. While pronouncing, that means the person who wrote it is indicating that pronounce it as anusvara. Okay? So if we pronounce it as tam vande, right? Jagata Pitravan tam vande Parameshwaram, right? Some word, some shloka is there. Tam vande. So if we pronounce it as tam vande, then it is not anusvara. We are pronouncing it as tam, which is correct. In this case, it is correct. You can either pronounce it as makara with a ma sound or anusvara sound separately. But when the person who wrote it and the book you see it, when you see anusvara symbol there, that means the person wants you to pronounce, or at least indicating that, or he wants to pronounce it as anusvara there. So if you pronounce as ma, this is grammatically correct. Tam vande you can pronounce, because when you say tam vande, that means there is a makara between. Tam vande, you can hear that mother. Tam vande Parameshwaram. But when we want to use it anusvara, then you have to bring it even closer. This tam vande, even closer. Then ma, the lips are not going to close to say ma. So they are going to glide here. Tam vande Parameshwaram. Tam vande Parameshwaram, like that. Tam vande, not tam vande. So there is a difference in pronunciation of makara and anusvara there.
Vande Guru Parambara.
So then there is no anusvara there in Vande Guru Paramparam. So this is not anusvara. There is a no here. Vande.
But we should not write like that. We should write. We should write only tam like this.
Where anusvara?
Here we should not write like this, because the meaning is tam vande.
No, meaning is same. Both the meanings are same. If you want to pronounce it as ma, meaning is same. Grammatically this is correct. Writing is also correct. But depending on what you write, try to pronounce it like that. If you are writing ma, pronounce ma there, because there is writing is ma. The script is ma. Tam vande. But if you write it like this, tam vande. Both are grammatically correct. Both have the same meaning. Only there is a sandhi aspect comes here. This is closer. Here we are changing it to anusvara. The pronunciation tam vande. So now the one thing I wanted to point out here before we stop, it's only note. So here na tam vande. In some books, even some Sanskrit books probably, and many other language books like in Kannada, Marathi, etc. This vande or Hindi also, they do not bother making this, writing the script as na here. Na. In case of this, they will write tam. This is fine. But the second one, they in Hindi, etc., they write like this vande, like vande matram. Yeah, vande matram. In Hindi, etc., they don't distinguish between this writing and the pronunciation. So whether they write it like this and the pronunciation, they say vande, there is na comes there. Na is heard, vande. But in the writing, they don't distinguish, but that is the writing style that has been used in Hindi and other languages. But in Sanskrit writing, that is not the case. We'll have to be careful because the pronunciation is important here, and what we are pronouncing, the same way we want to represent that using the script. So when we write the script in Sanskritam, then because na is heard here, we cannot pronounce the anusvara here in this case, because the following consonant is important here. The following consonant which is following here is the, which falls in that tata dadhana series, which is a danta, or the teeth is the sthanam. So in that series, in that line, the last anunasika is na sound. So before pronouncing the anusvara cannot be pronounced. I mean, you can try hard and somehow you can bring it out, but that is not natural. So when the next consonant is the, then the previous, whatever the anunasika sound is there, that automatically, naturally changes to na. So, like one day, because as I some time back I said, because the next, depending on the next letter here, next consonant, because its position is danta, the nasal sound has to be ready to pronounce this the sound. The nasal sound which falls in the same line of danta, tooth, is na sound. So the nasal sound changes to na sound actually. Whether you want to say ma, whether you want to say anusvara here, that will change to na sound in order to immediately sound the next following consonant, vanda. Similar, same thing with, let's say, anda. Here also, the previous one doesn't remain as anusvara, because immediately following that is a da there. So in order to get ready to pronounce the da immediately following that nasal sound, this nasal sound will change to the anunasika, which is the last column of this line, da. That is this sound, no sound, anda. So that changes to murdha, anda, because immediately you have to pronounce no. You cannot keep on saying the anusvara, which is pure nasal, and then try to change to da, which takes much time. So there is no time here. There is no time we can waste between pronouncing this whatever this nasal sound here and then the da. So that has to change to na. So while writing also, we should make sure that depending on what is next here, vanda, if it is the na, it's corresponding in the 25 by 25. Sampatti or sampati, there the ma is there. Guru parampara. In parampara, we have ma and then pa, because pa immediately comes next. So then the anunasika of the same in this 5 by 5. This letter has to be before that. If one of the following letters is this, like this. But if it is one of these, then it doesn't have any corresponding anunasika as such. Like, so we saw the sanyoga or sanskrita or ansha. So there, anusvara sound is heard and it can be pronounced as an anusvara. And it should not be pronounced here, because then it becomes a no sound, ansha like that, amsha. So anusvara sound has to be pronounced while we are saying ansha, etc. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Huh?
Yeah, when we write, we say something like Sanskritam. Is it supposed to be ma at the end or
at the end, you mean at the very end?
Yeah, at the end.
End it is ma. At the end, anusvara cannot be pronounced. Whenever there is a nasal sound at the end, either it will be ma or na, or some other anunasika. I mean, not necessarily ma or na. It may be some other anunasika, but anusvara cannot be there at the end. Because beginning it is anusvara, always anusvara. Sanskrita, there is no ma or na there. In the beginning, some. Yeah. So actually this is made of two different words. One is some and there is kruta. Kruta is there, and this sa comes as an addition there. That is a different subject. Yeah. This sa which comes in between. But when you add it and say it closely, because there is sa here, this sanskrita, there is no ma. Ma should not pronounce here, and at the end always there is a ma, sanskritam, because this we are closing. If there is no other word following it, yeah, sanskritam. If there is at the very end of a sentence, then there is sanskritam.
Is something like ananda?
Huh?
Ananda.
No, ananda. So where is ananda? Ananda. So there is no anusvara here, because there is a da. This comes in the 5 by 5 matrix. Anand.
Pulling, striling.
No. Pulling, striling. No. Ling. You mean ling? Just ling?
Yeah.
Now, there also nga is there, right? Because ga is coming, which is in 5 by 5. Ga is there.
Here
so
ga is anusvara, no, sir?
Huh?
Nga is also anusvara.
No, nga is not anusvara. Where is nga anusvara? Nga is here, right? Nga is anunasika. Linga.
Yes. Anunasika, yes.
Right. Anusvara is only dot.
Yes, but anusvara is only dot.
Linga. And ga is here. That is why we need this sound. Nga. Linga. Okay, so we can stop here. If anybody has questions, they can stay back. Others can. If they want, they can leave.
In Sanskrit, we should pronounce it as Sanskrita or Samskrita.
There is no ma. We just now discussed. There is no ma. There is no Samskrita.
Sanskrit.
Yeah, Sanskrita. Just one more to the question.
Mahodaya, what is it for we? You said srikini, sides of the lips. Okay.
Side of lips.
Srikini. And so the way is pronounced is like W, Mahodaya. In English, W is sides of the lips and V, they bite the lips.
Yeah, V, they bite the lips. Yeah.
V, they bite the lip, and W, they don't bite the lip. They say srikini way, sides of the lip.
Yes, great.
So that biting the lip word is not there in the Varnamala at all.
No, it's not there.
But you have written V, so I thought it should change to W.
Okay. This V I just copied from that. V is used. I think V is used in the transliteration scheme.
Yes. So I think those who don't know in any Indian language, it's confusing for them because the sound of V, they always bite like divine. But water, they don't. When they say water, it is srikini.
Yes. So that's good point. Maybe the transliteration scheme. If some of you don't know, don't get confused with the sound of V. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, I think everything is very easy, and I feel I know everything when you are explaining. But when taking your test papers, lot of mistakes.
So one more thing, I think people are here still. So just wanted to add when Suresh Mahodaya said Sanskritam, the one at the end, the ma at the end. Sorry, the ma at the end is pronounced as the oshtha ma, or the lips closing ma. This is not a anusvara. When it is at the end of a sentence and there is nothing after that. But if something is after that, like Sanskritam patami, let's say, Sanskritam, then there is patami. So now what?
Makar. In place of makara, there is anuswar on the top of ta.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Because there is halvarna after that.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things here. So let me write it for clarity again. Sanskritam, you said halvarna means vyanjanam. There is a consonant following the ma. So Sanskritam, let's say simple say asti. So now what?
At this time it is correct because after that last makar there is a swara.
Yeah. So this one is clear to everybody, I guess. So when at the end there is nothing, then there is ma will be pronounced and it will be written like that. That's fine. Because remember, pronunciation, writing is equal to pronunciation always. So at the end there is ma sound we have to pronounce with the closing of the lips. So we write ma here. Now take this third case, Sanskritam asti, there is a vowel following it, and what we looked at the compound letters today by combining the consonant and one of the vowels, the same thing applies here. There is no sandhi. This is becomes a gunitakshara or swarayuktakshara. That's your thing. Swarayuktakshara. Then na plus sa can become just na. I mean, that is same thing, because when we are splitting this kriya word, we saw that, like kriya word is what? Nothing but ka plus ra, refa plus e, and so on. So ra and e together is ri. So here also ma and a together is just ma. So Sanskritam asti. Sanskritam asti. So this is not a sandhi, this is just a swarayuktakshara. So Sanskritam asti. If you stop here, if you take a gap, then this becomes like Sanskritam asti. And as you have studied, again, if you go back, only pronouncing pure consonant is not possible. So even if you want to say Sanskritam, yeah, we are trying to pronounce our Vyanjanam, but there is an element of a after that. So same thing is happening here. If you put a lot of gap here, so it becomes Sanskritam asti, which is fine. But if you want to combine it, it becomes Sanskritam asti, which is a swarayuktakshara. Now, that is about if you can use any vowel here, the same thing will happen. But now question is here, Sanskritam pathami. There is no what you call vowel here. So here there is a Vyanjanam. So we have studied what happens when we combine two Vyanjanams here. There is this Vyanjanam and this another Vyanjanam. The first thing is that it becomes a conjunct, right? It becomes a conjunct. And the second thing is that depending on what Vyanjanam is there, this changes to the anunasika of the same line. Anunasika of the same line that we have seen, like one day, the and na, linga, granga. So here also this will change if we combine this. If there is a gap in between, Sanskritam pathami, then this is correct. What you are writing is same thing what you are saying, right? Remember that, what you are pronouncing. Because if there is a gap of more than half matra, that is the Vyakarana defines that. If there is a gap of more than half matra, then this ma sound is distinctly heard. Sanskritam asti or Sanskritam pathami. So no matter whether what Vyanjanam is there afterwards, if there is a gap, pause between the two words, we are taking a pause, enough pause of more than half matra, then this ma word is heard, ma sound is heard, and ma can be written there. Okay? So Sanskritam pathami. This is not incorrect. This is still correct. This just means that there is a gap between these two words in pronouncing, while pronouncing. Sanskritam pathami. But now, if there is no gap, the question is when you combine them, when you bring the two pronunciation sounds very close, then the changes starts happening. If there are gap, no change. Remember that. So pronounce and write it like this. But if you intend to pronounce them together close enough, then the changes start happening. Now first change is that if you there are two options here while pronouncing it together. One option is depending on what consonant is there next here, you can bring the anunasika of the same line. So here here, here it is already, it happened that because there is pa there, ma already is also the anunasika of the same line. Yeah? So we can also write Sanskritam Patami. This is correct. This is one way of pronouncing it, because you are pronouncing very close, and this becomes a conjunct letter, Sanyuktakshara. Sanskritam Patami. This is correct. Now there is another way of pronouncing it, using the anusvara. So now, so this means again we want to pronounce them very closely. Okay? In fact, if you look at the old manuscripts of Sanskrit manuscripts, actually you don't find the words separated like that. They write like this. The very old manuscripts or the very old printings, if you go back, they write like this. This is correct. Actually, this is correct in Sanskritam. There is no need to be break of the actual words. This we have to make out by looking at the word. So here it means we are actually pronouncing the anusvara here. So how are we going to pronounce anusvara? Same thing, like how we pronounce tam on there, like that. Sanskritam Patami. Do you remember? Sanskritam Patami. Sanskritam Patami. There is no ma. If you want to pronounce ma, yeah, you can. Sanskritam Patami. Sanskritam Patami. But if you don't want to pronounce ma, want to pronounce that as anusvara, then you pronounce it as Sanskritam Patami. It is still valid, but it has to be close to, the two words have to be pronounced very close. Sanskritam Patami. But if you want to take a gap, then this ma has to be separated, and it always remains ma. It cannot be any other letter here, no anusvara, no na, nothing. Okay? For example, if you take Devalayam Gacchami. So here,
so if you want to say Vadami, then
Vadami, then it is always anusvara, right? Because Va doesn't have its corresponding anunasika. Sanskritam Vadami. So here Devalayam Gacchami. If there are, these are the two different words, if these are two words with a pause in between, then ma is heard and you write ma there. Devalayam Gacchami. Even though there is a ga afterwards and you intend to take a break in between, then actually when we are breaking a shloka, words in a shloka, which is called padacheda, which is breaking of the words, then actually we have to show it as a ma there. Suppose there is a shloka called Devalayam Gacchami with the anusvara. When we break it, we want to show the actual break, pause. So you show it as ma there. Pronunciation of ma is there. Devalayam Gacchami. Now if you want to pronounce them close together, then this has two options. Why? Because of ga, what is the anunasika in that line of ga?
No.
No. So Devalayam Gacchami. Either you write it like this, or you write it like this, same thing. Devalayam Gacchami. This is one way of pronouncing. Remember, that is why we write it like this. Then the other way is, we can use anusvara also. Like instead of this, just use anusvara. Devalayam, remove heard there. Devalayam Gacchami. So whichever is easier for you, use that pronunciation, and that means write it like that. Devalayam Gacchami. Okay, I think we can stop here.
Yep.
Dhanyavadah.
We'll see you next week.
Dhanyavad Mahodaya.
We are not yet done with this Shikshaa class. I think maybe one more class.
Dhanyavadah Mahodaya.
So next Saturday we have the Shikshaa class at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Okay. I think your calendar said that from next week we are starting the L2.
No, there are some miscellaneous topics left in the Shiksha which are important. Obviously, anusvara is still, only anusvara is covered today. Still, visarga is still there.
Okay.